Today, on International Women's Day, it is impossible to ignore the severe complicity of the Canadian government in the suffering and the violence being faced by Palestinian women and children. The gendered impacts of this genocide and the violence are beyond comprehension. Over 8,620 women have been ruthlessly killed. Over 14,350 children have been murdered in Gaza alone, their young lives cut violently short by an incomprehensible ethnic cleansing campaign. Reports of malnutrition and starvation among Gaza's children are a direct consequence of Israel's inhumane restrictions on aid delivery. In the face of such unspeakable suffering, Canada's decision to cut funding to UNRWA is nothing short of reprehensible. This decision not only deprives vulnerable Palestinian women and children of critical services, but also contradicts our nation's humanitarian commitments and priority of empowering women around the world. By reducing support to UNRWA, Canada is complicit in the suffering of Palestinian women and girls, denying them access to essential healthcare and reproductive services. This is not feminism, this is hypocrisy. Today, on this International Day celebrating women across the globe, we condemn in the strongest terms the Canadian government's role in enabling these egregious violations of human rights violations against Palestinian women and children. We demand justice for the countless lives lost, for the future stolen, and for the human dignity that has been trampled upon under the weight of oppression.
The IFO have torn apart families and destroyed homes, even cooking inside abandoned kitchens as a way to dehumanize Palestinians, a reminder of homes they no longer have. In addition to fetishizing Palestinian women's bodies by posting pictures of Gazans' women's undergarments while using derogatory, perverted, and racial slur, robbing Palestinian women of any privacy and being broadcasted to the world for social media to see. Pregnant mothers are forced to flee from their homes from the north to the south of Gaza, dodging unceasing shelling and bombardment, only to have C-sections or births without any kind of anesthesia. This is a daily reality in the barely functioning, unsanitized hospitals in Gaza with little to no aftercare. New mothers are sent to Rafah refugee camps only to watch their newborn children die from starvation.
And as we know, during times of crisis, it's women and children who suffer the most. Since October 7th, Israel has killed over 30,000 Palestinians in Gaza, 70% of whom are women and children. Israel has killed an average of 63 women every day, and 1 child every 10 minutes. Every day, Israel kills an average of 37 mothers in Gaza. Breastfeeding babies are dying of malnutrition because their mothers are starving and unable to produce breast milk. In northern Gaza, 1 in 6 children is acutely malnourished. Women are eating less and less often to save food for their children and for their families. Ending the genocide in Gaza is a feminist issue. Canada's decision to cut UNRWA funding is the prioritization of politics over innocent people, and it shows Canada's lack of serious commitment to our own feminist international assistance policy. So, is Canada back? Has Trudeau reclaimed Canada's compassionate and constructive voice in the world? If you ask the majority of Canadians who want a ceasefire, or the thousands of Canadians protesting every week since the start of Israel's war on Gaza, or starving women in Gaza who will be directly impacted by Canada's cuts to UNRWA, you might get the same answer.
So on this day of International Women's Day, I sit in the comfort of my home, in the safety that I live in, and I wonder how can I, as a Palestinian woman, how can I adequately convey their experiences and celebrate them? I can share the stats with you and numbers, but I am a firm believer that we are not numbers. Whether it's 1 or 1 million, you must stand up for women and girls. So let us stand up for the women being arbitrarily detained in jails. These women have been physically abused and have faced various forms of sexual abuse, which constitute grave violations of international human rights and humanitarian law. Let us stand up for the women who were shot dead when they tried to recover their child's dead body lying in the street because he was killed by settler violence or Israeli soldiers on their way back home from school. Let us stand for the women that are forcibly shaken awake in the middle of the night by Israeli soldiers that then made them stand by to watch as they beat their husbands, shoot their sons, and detain their daughters. And a quick note here, children as young as 12 have been detained in Israeli prisons. On this International Day for Women, on March 8, 2024, as the genocide in Gaza continues, We echo what thousands and millions have been asking for more than 150 days. Canada must exert pressure on Israel to thoroughly investigate instances of rape and sexual assault against Palestinian female detainees.